Greetings, Patrick here from the Wonderful World of Hallmark, and along with my sidekick, the orange and white cheetah, who's causing a ruckus right now. We are here for another episode of the Wonderful World of Hallmark, and tonight we're being joined by super special guest and fellow MC at IFC Midnighter, Mary Wilson.
Hello.
We're not doing supernatural horror today. We're not running from bears. Um,
Oh
and of
man.
course, we're joined by our fellow panelist, Eric from Internet. It's Eric, and yeah, this is going to be fun. We are doing mystery today.
hmm Yeah, it was a nice change of pace when we were having a little trouble finding one for this week or for this month because of availability. But when you picked this one, you said it was a murder mystery. I was all for it, just for something a little different than the last couple things we watched.
Uh, were you? I know, Mary, you're a Hallmark fan as well. Have you watched any of their mysteries? Were you aware
No,
of?
I just started getting and watching some of
Yeah.
these this
Um.
past few months. We've been starting just something
I,
nice to watch instead of all the mean
what
stuff that's
people?
on there.
Yeah, people forget that before Hallmark was a channel.
hmm
They put out a lot of movies out by themselves. They produced them and then they went to different TV stations or the Hall of Fame went on the big networks. There's a lot of movies and a lot of miniseries they did too. One they did on Genghis Khan that was really good. They did one on Marco Polo.
Okay.
There's a lot of. I mean, if you saw some of the movies that Hallmark had done before their recent success with the Christmas movies, you would be really surprised to know that that was Hallmark because people weren't expecting that then.
No, I sure
Um,
wasn't. I sure wasn't with this one. It didn't have that, like I said in the last couple, streams we did, didn't have that Hallmark feel. You know what I mean? Because
mhm.
with Hallmark, you kind of know what you're getting into. Like a happy-go-lucky love story or something like that, and that's not what this was at all.
She Bear. What's her name? She's in all of them. Lacey.
Oh yeah, Lacey Chabert. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
she's
hmm
in so many.
of course,
She didn't star in this one. It's
she
the
has done a
difference
couple of
too.
she has done a couple of mysteries. In fact, the last one they did, I have to admit, I really didn't. I saw it. I just really wasn't into it. It was the
hmm
crosswords puzzle, and it wasn't the fact that she was in it. It was the fact that she was in it with her guy that she always stars in her movies in, Brennan Elliott. They do so many movies together,
hmm
and so when they brought them together into a new mystery series, it just didn't have that pop to it because you had that been there, done that feeling about them,
Okay.
and what's really cool though is that they do match up some interesting people together. Like Jewel. Did you know Jewel did a three part mystery series for Hallmark? The singer.
No, no, not at all. I didn't even know she dabbled into acting.
Yes, she did three. They're called the Fixer Upper Mysteries. They only did three of them, but she wasn't half bad. She was interesting.
Okay.
And she co-starred with Colin Ferguson, who did 5 years of Eureka. Uh, which is, we always include horror and science fiction to our movie. There is always going to be ties to that, as there are for this movie as well. So the movie we're talking about today is the third of the fourth of series, the Martha Vineyard series. And
Yeah, I
this is
saw it said series. I was like, oh, gotta watch them now.
I had the first one. I had the first one. It was a beautiful place to die,
hmm
and that was a corker too. I went with this one because I hadn't seen it,
Okay.
and I was curious. And like you said, I messed up. I messed up. I went with Tipline Mysteries because I said, hey, it's brand new. It just came out.
hmm
Somebody put it on YouTube. I should have known better. I should have known that that wouldn't last. That YouTube would come by and take it out and take out the channel, most likely or not. Um, so that's what happened. So we had
You
to
can't you can't
scramble.
you can't predict that stuff though. I
Mhm.
mean, this one I watched this one on YouTube as well. So
Um, Yeah, there are some people that get away with putting them on there, and some people that just don't do it. I think the ones that don't try to hide what they're, yeah, we're putting out a Hallmark movie, and they show everything, all the credits. I think they tend to get left alone.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that try to cut, like the cut, and like you mentioned about the credits for Tipline, I think those are the ones that YouTube will come by and chop off, because they're trying to show that they can get away with it, and nobody wants to be nobody wants to be seen as easy.
Mm-hmm.
So this movie was the third or fourth. It came out in 2020, so more likely or not, it was filmed during COVID and released during the COVID area. It was directed by Mark Jean, who directed 3 of the 4 films. Written by Philip Craig and Gillian Horvath, and it has a really attractive cast, real strong. I feel anyway. Jesse Metcalf is retired police detective Jeff Jackson. And he was, yes, I know. I kept on wanting to call him Jet. I kept on thinking they call him
Jet Jackson.
I kept on thinking
Jackson.
and they were joined by Sarah Lind, who plays Dr. Z Medeiros. And those 2 of the main couple of the series. And they're in a small town, the Vineyard, and then the rest of the cast will come and talk to them about them a little bit. I
can't remember any other names except for Jet Jackson.
Jackson.
His name was very comic booky to me.
Well, I mean, I guess we could mention some of the other people because they do play a part in this. We have Eric Kinsley Side, who plays the chief. Chelsea Hobbs, who plays Jackie Shaw. Sunita Prasad, who plays Z's best friend. Bradley Stryker, who plays Barista Bob, who is friends with Jet Jackson. One actor I really want to note, because and that's Nelson Wong, who plays Detective Andy Lau. Nelson Wong is a Hallmark. He's a cog. He's an important cog. He does all their whole profile movies. He is, and in a lot of their movies, he plays a variation of the same character. It all depends how they spell the name, but it's the same guy. Not here in this series. And the only reason I mention him is because he had announced that he would become a series regular from now on. And unfortunately, the end of the series before that he could actually do that. And I felt that really was too bad, because he has done hard work in so many movies.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been nice for him to actually get a regular role in a regular series. He's a fine actor, really good actor. And we'll see him again sometime soon, because we will be talking about the Christmas Train on this show.
Okay.
I can guarantee you that. All right. So yeah, that's a great movie. That's my favorite one all time. So Ships in the Night starts off with a perplexing mystery, as we see a murder being cleaned up. We see
somebody's wiping up blood splotches. I remember, and you see somebody laying on the floor with their hair, kind of like a clip of somebody's hair, right?
Yeah, it looks like whoever did it, they did a nice, they did a really dastardly job on it. A person was deader than a doornail, and cleaning the blood out, and they're just sitting there going, wow, that's really messed up. And so you see that happen, and it's really sad, and but we don't know anything about anything, because this is the first scene of the movie and it's that dark. And we could tell that it's in some sort of a shop, like an art gallery or whatnot. We could tell that by the building. So we see that happen, and then we get flash forward till 3 days before the murder. Yeah. And so that's where we start meeting our main actors. Jeff Jackson. We can't call him Jeff Jackson. Okay. Jeff Jackson. We see Jeff Jackson, and it's a small town. It's on and we see and he's ruggedly handsome. He's got the beard going on, the mustache. The beard.
It cracked me up. His sweat line kept changing.
Did it? Oh,
And he didn't sweat on his back, just his front.
Oh, wow.
Sweat.
Well, he is Jackson, so
He's Jet Jackson because he only sweats in a V.
that's right. So we meet him, and we start meeting the people of the town. We see, we meet Z. Her and her father are out there with their friend, and she's a doctor. She's a doctor, so she's out on the boat with her other friend and her dad, and they're coming back from fishing, and we see that they're all very nice people, and that her friend. Let me get the name because I don't want to say it wrong. Eland, I think it's Eland. What's it? Eland. Oh gosh, let me see if I can find it. Hold on here.
I don't remember.
Oh, Eli. So Eli. So they're Doctor Leitner, and we see him and Z talking. And he has come across a new way to help control diabetes and dialysis, and he's not going to sell it. He's gonna put it on open source. He's gonna make it free for everybody. And so we definitely see that he's a super nice guy, and he has some, he's looking out for his fellow human beings, and yeah. So, what did you think, or what was our initial thoughts of both the murder and then starting to meet the main characters, Jeff Jackson, Dr. Z, her dad, the doctor? Any first impressions?
At first, I thought it was a really great way to start this type of thing, because I didn't really realize it was going to be a murder mystery, when we first chose it. And it, like all murder mysteries, they have to kind of hook you, especially if you're like reading one. They got to hook you right away. And it starts with, this murder. Someone's cleaning it up. You got the body right there. And then it cuts to 3 days before. You know what I mean? So now we know we're going to go through the process to find out how this happened, who was murdered. We don't know by whom yet, and if that'll get solved by the end of the film. So I liked that. It really hooked me. And then it was a fun opening. I liked seeing the doctor taking the fish hook out of the guy's hand. You know what I mean? It showed. And what I liked is she wasn't just, okay, she plopped it out, she put a Band-Aid on it, she sent him on his way. She put the antiseptic on it, and you could tell she actually cared about this person. And that was kind of nice to see too, a doctor in film that actually cared about, air quotes, their patient of the day, with this person. So I think they did a really good job establishing these characters and making you like them.
Yeah, I did too. I liked them all. I thought definitely, you see the tenderness in Z, and it seemed like more like a mentor and student type of relationship, and her dad was very doting on her, and we saw that.
I know there's a murder, but what a nice looking town. Sorry.
Yeah. That town, the vineyard was beautiful. Definitely, you would think that'd be the last place that we would see, not only a murder, like that's just something you just don't see. But someone who was prominent in town, but it gets a little bit more dicier because Dr. Eli decides to head home. He's got work to do, and he goes back to his house, and he starts working on his medical device, and then his house gets broken into, and Dr. Eli, he meets an unfortunate end. He is the suspect tries to strangle him, but Dr. Eli has a little bit on the ball, right? And I think he knew that he was going to die, and because he did something really unusual for me, and I've never seen this in a murder mystery. He knew that he was going to die. He was being killed, and then when he's looking outside, you see the open window. Actually, I have seen this, and I'll tell you that. In fact, it's a horror tie. Oh my gosh, yes! Now it's hitting it. It's hitting me right now. We have seen this before in a very, very famous horror movie. The same type of ending. So Dr. Eli is being killed. He knows he's going to die.
Mm-hmm.
He knows that if he throws himself through the window, he's going to die. But his chances of, I mean, the more the messier the crime is, the more clues there are.
Right.
So I think this is what I thought. My impression was he struggled to go forward through there, and he
Mm-hmm.
did. He threw himself through the window, just like Father Karras did in The Exorcist.
It's possible. And what I liked about this is this got me really interested because this isn't the murder that the movie started out with. You know what I mean? You could tell that the initial murder where the movie starts is a female with the long hair and like the body type and stuff like that. So that got me really interested because now this is going to be like a multiple murder mystery.
Yeah. And that's pretty, if you really think about it, even for Hallmark, most of their movies always have the one murder. It's
Mm-hmm.
pretty damn rare for them to have two murders.
Okay.
So to me, this already elevated this movie up because now you got, not only do you have two murders going on, but two prominent people, including one that's very close to the main character.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit different, a little bit more intense, intensity as far as the way I looked at it. So, of course, after the doctor dies, we flash back to the town, and then we see Z, and we see Jackson. He's running. He's running down the beat. We're probably gonna do this the whole thing. So we see Jeff Jackson running down the beach, and we see that Dr. Z and Jeff are very close.
Mm-hmm.
And that Jeff is a little too young to be retired from the Boston PD.
Right.
Yeah, he sure is.
And and
He
so
says,
he's
watch that jogging, you might dislodge that bullet, right?
That's right. Yeah, we do find out while they're talking that Jeff has been carrying around a bullet in him that he got through a case that went sideways. And his partner was killed, and Jeff was critically wounded, and
shot in the back.
Yeah, dastardly person shooting our heroes.
Coward.
You can't get away with doing that to Jackson. All right.
Can't shoot Jackson.
All right. I like the chemistry between the two.
Yeah, they had really good chemistry.
I thought Sarah Lynn and Jesse Metcalf had great chemistry. And very easy to like, very easy to get hooked into the movie as far as I'm concerned. And of course they go ahead and they make small talk about making plans later on and what have you. And then Z has to
have
go
dinner. Try to have dinner.
Right. We see Z we see Z go one way, and Jeff runs to the dock. And that's where he meets his friends. We start meeting more characters in the movie. We start meeting his friend Dawn, who is and Brista Bob down at the harbor. Dawn seems to be like a nice guy, and so is Brista Bob. And so we start seeing more people in the town. And what did you think of the townspeople themselves? Did they look like red herrings to you?
I mean, this is my first Hallmark mystery, so I didn't know if they're known for red herrings or anything like that. But I with any murder mystery, you can't trust anyone, no matter how sweet and innocent that they could be, or how if they're the happy-go-lucky girl, or if they're the fun, funny male, best friend type of thing. So I didn't trust anybody.
I like that because sometimes that does happen, and it has happened to a main character in a series where they themselves were involved in the murder. Yeah, I can think of a couple shows right now that happened to, where the main character, and so we find out the main character actually is the bad guy. Really interesting. We see Jeff is supposed to go to the gallery and supposed to pick up a picture. And so he goes inside, and then we meet the gallery's owner.
For the auction. They're having an auction.
Yeah. And he's supposed to get a picture. And that's where we meet the owner of the gallery, Lila Winchester. And then this young lady comes in, a very attractive young lady comes in, and she wants some of the action. There's a boat that's sitting there, a sculpture, and she wants the boat, and really wants the boat. She tries to buy the boat, and Lila says, I can't sell that to you. We have other pieces. And she says, well, I'll pay you double to what you sold it, because she said this piece has been sold already. And she says, the young lady says, I'll pay you double for it. And of course Lila says no. Unfortunately, she tries to direct him to other pieces, but the mystery woman says no, that's all right, and she takes off. Of course, Jeff is
she
there.
seemed sketchy. For sure.
Yeah, it was like a little bit too earnest, It was just a little too earnest.
Pay anything you want.
Yeah, it's like you can't, and she didn't even bother looking at any other pieces. Of course, Jeff is just recently retired, so his skills are still sharp.
They're still fresh.
Yeah, he picks up on this right away. He notices that right away, and I think he also sort of notices too that Lila is she's not the nicest person either. No. I even from the very first you
That's
meet
the blonde lady, right?
Yes, she was the first person.
Yeah, my son didn't like him. Everybody watched this with me.
Oh, nice. I liked the mystery girl. I liked her. I thought because she was mystery. I thought Lila I thought she was a fine gallery owner. I mean, they are sort of like that. I mean, I thought she played her part with perfection.
Right. My son knew. He was like, something about that one.
Yeah, so did I. Right away, I got like I just said, you can't trust anyone in a murder mystery, but my red flags were just popping up right when I was just seeing her attitude. You know what I mean? I'm like, she might have not have done it, but she's going to be involved.
You know what I mean? See, what threw me off about that? Like, I didn't catch it. Okay, I admit it. I got caught sleeping. The reason why was because the second murder, because there's no way in hell she could have killed him.
I was thinking it was his friend that borrowed his van.
I had it as a male from the get go. I had it as a male. I just didn't know who. Okay. I didn't know that our main bad guy was the bad guy until like the end, and I'm sitting here going like, all right, freaking Hallmark, you got my ass again in the same series. Same series. You got me sitting here going like, oh, I'll be damned. I didn't see that coming. Damn it.
That's how you know it's a good murder mystery though, man.
Exactly. Hello, everybody. How are you? Hey, Derek. How are you? Hey. All right. Oh, he came over to say hi to you. All right.
Yep. Derek. I had Derek on my channel. He's the host of the Yesterday's podcast. I interviewed him. He was my second interview.
Sweet.
Good dude.
We go flash forward into a restaurant, and we meet Birdie and her husband Derek, and I'm gonna be honest with you, there was no chemistry between these two at all. Now, whether that was designed or the parts they played, I thought the girl who played Birdie was sensational. The guy who played Derek, he was there.
He was there.
He was, I was sort of looking at him. I was giving him the side eye, as far as, especially after this scene here, I was giving him the side eye as my suspect number one. I was like, yeah, you don't really seem to be a really nice guy, and his wife is, sitting there like, you're creeping me out a little bit. But she herself, Birdie, is not a nice person either. I think that maybe because she works in an art gallery, is that part of the requirement in working in an art gallery?
Working in an art gallery.
Yeah, high pollution. Excuse me. Do you have any great
face too?
Do you have any great poupon?
Yeah. Snooty, very snooty.
And she seems sort of young for that too. God, it looks like she's like 25 or 26, like out of college. And to me, she seemed a little bit young to be so sort of calloused and bitter a little bit, and without not being very friendly. And of course, then we meet Dr. Z's best friend. Of course, they always give them really beautiful best friends. You ever notice that? and her best friend is Britt, and that's played by Sunita Prasad. And like I said, they always make the sidekicks super cute. So now we're back at the gallery, or at the no, rather actually I think we're at the auction itself, and or a restaurant, a bar of some sort, and Lila is talking with a mysterious gentleman, and of course there's our hero Jet Jackson. He's talking to him. He's like, "Oh, who are you? What are you up to?" And this is how we meet one of our other.
Yeah, and then he starts talking about, of course, sounds like his favorite subject himself.
Yeah, we can definitely tell that Lila definitely has a thing for this mysterious Adam Sheeran, who seems to be. I'm just gonna get a new house, new boat. I mean, basically telling Jeff that he's got money and you don't.
Mm-hmm. She's gonna fill my place with art.
Yeah. Will it be pre-Renaissance art like Lila, or after Renaissance art like somebody else? Have to see. So now we see that Jeff and Z were supposed to hook up for dinner. Unfortunately for Z, her on-call doctor got food poisoning, and so obviously she has to go and fill in. So they make plans to meet later on, and Jeff just says, "All right, well that's all right. I'm on my way." So then we flash forward to the next day. We meet more people.
Yeah, it does a lot of flashes back and forth.
Yeah, we
was getting a little lost just a bit.
Yeah, that's okay.
I mean, they flash going to the lady that owns the art gallery's house like 3 times. I think they went to her house, maybe 4.
I had the same problem, Mary. Just all the jumping. It was hard for me to focus. And I was telling Patrick, offline, I still really enjoyed the film, but that was just like one of its problems with me is like I'm one of those guys that I like point A, point B, point C, all the way down to Z. And when it's doing like time jumps or non-linear stuff, it's really hard for me to focus.
I will say this. I definitely will say this. I think that they put a little bit too many ingredients in this bowl of soup. There was a lot of people. I mean, a lot of red herrings, a lot of them, and we meet so many different people. So now here's the people on our suspect list. We have Birdie. We have Birdie. We have Birdie. We have Derek. We have Lila. We have Adam. Now we're meeting Dawn, a friend of Jeff's. So we're meeting a ton of people already. Everybody has,
you got Barista Bob.
So
and
there's
the sheriff. I mean, the smiling sheriff.
Yeah, I mean,
the sheriff could be
news, the sheriff could be on the action. The sheriff definitely could be on the action. They're small town sheriffs. How much exactly do they make?
Right.
So we see Jeff talk to Don, and Don works for the gallery, and so he's going to be making some runs to Boston, but his truck breaks down, and of course our hero Jeff Jackson goes over there. He arranges to what a nice guy too. He says, I'm gonna go ahead. I'll go, he take my Jeep, make your deliveries, I'll take the van, I'll get it fixed for you, and then we'll meet later on. What a guy, what a pal. So Don says, wow, thanks a lot, I'm gonna take you up on that, and so that's what happens. They go ahead and they make the switch around, and then okay, so then we see that happen. And then we go back to Lila's house, and they start talking about. We find out that Oh, I'm sorry. Oh man, I'm waiting. I went too far. Let me go back.
See, now you're being non-linear, Patrick. Jeez.
Yeah. Okay. So that night we see a mysterious murder happen. I mean, basically, we have caught up to our 3 days.
Yes.
We have caught up to our 3 days. So now we find out that there has been a murder in the vineyard. And the murder victim happens to be Birdie, who we just got done meeting. So we could take her off the list because she's dead. so now she has died in the gallery. She was working in the gallery. She saw something she shouldn't have had. Then we see on the camera, we see the door opening, and then she is killed in a fight. And we definitely could tell that the person who killed Birdie is a woman. You can definitely tell that by the body shape, but it still doesn't explain how, like who did it, because now we have two different murderers. We have the one who killed Dr. Eli and the one who killed Birdie. Of course, the next day, Z and Britt spot the body, and they break in the gallery, and we get our first clue, which I missed. I missed it. I missed the alarm going
when
off.
they showed up. Yeah.
Yeah, when soon as they hit the window, I heard the alarm, but it didn't like. Well, that's unusual. It didn't hit me.
Going off.
You guys were definitely all over me in terms of Sherlock Holmes at this point in the case. Then we meet. Then we see.
I didn't catch it either.
Yeah, neither did I.
You didn't? Oh, okay, okay.
Don't feel so bad. Yeah, I didn't catch it either, and you know that's why I said again, I said it offline. Like, this definitely requires multiple viewings. You know what I mean? So you can because there's gonna be some stuff that you're not going to catch, which is what you need to do for a murder mystery. Same thing with like when you're reading like an Agatha Christie novel. You know, you need to reread it for stuff that you missed.
He's probably one of them, isn't it?
I only have one. I only have the first one. I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, I've never seen that one yet.
Me either. I try to put it on, and that's what it's doing. It's doing a lot of jumping around, so you lose, like you said, the interest real quick in it.
Yeah, you know what? I think when a mystery's done right, there's one mystery I can tell you about after we're done with this one. It was an Agatha Christie movie, and came out about the same time that the first Knives came out, and it was absolutely an amazing movie. Holy shit! I was actually sort of surprised Glenn Close did not get nominated for it. She was amazing in this movie.
Okay.
It was a great mystery. All right, so now we see that Z comes up there. They're going to meet Jeff at the gallery at 9:30 to get another picture for the auction. Z gets there early because Jeff is, of course, helping his friend out, and they see a body inside the gallery. Now they don't know if that person's hurt or what, so they immediately break in. The alarm goes off, but they go to the lady, and Dr. Z, it's Birdie, and she's dead. Bye, Birdie.
She wanted to say that.
I worked on that. Thank you very much. Be here all.
You've been waiting a half hour to say that, have
you? Don't forget to tip your waitress.
Yeah.
So,
try the veal.
What did you think at this point in time in the movie? What were your thoughts going through? I mean, it seemed like a lot of action, and were you? It seemed like a lot of action. Do you think that they paced it pretty well, or did you feel at any time like, man, this is going by in a hurry? Like there's a lot of people, all of a sudden dropping.
No, I think it was paced very well because we have to establish the characters. You know what I mean? We have to know here's a good one. We have to know all the chess pieces before they're taken off the board. You know what I mean? So I think it was paced really well, getting to know everybody. And now that we know who's who, a little bit about their characters, what they do, now it's time to pick them off. You know what I mean? So I think the pace was really good.
I did too. I enjoyed it I actually enjoyed it throughout the whole movie. But at the time, I mean, sometimes these movies, like you said, people can get a little bit overwhelmed by it because there's a lot of information because you're looking at what's happening at the same time. You're looking at as a viewer, but if you love detective movies, you're sort of looking around too to see what clues you can spot to solve the mystery. You know, and so it's like there's two ways to look at a mystery movie. Like who did it and how they do it, and was it Colonel Mustard? All right.
We meet another character.
Yes. Okay.
I think that's next, though, right?
Yeah. Well. Because they have to go and they start investigating.
Check the phone, I guess.
Yeah, they had to find out who did it. So they have to travel over to Lila's house because she owns the gallery, and so they start investigating. And I really liked the idea that the chief took Jeff with him because he knows that his small town just does not have the skills or the experience for a murder mystery like this.
Right.
This is what Jeff did in Boston.
Yeah,
And
he knows
so
he's overwhelmed, so he needs the help.
yes, he does. And I liked how Jeff, he was a little bit reluctant, but then he's like, oh, yeah, like, all right, I can get involved in this. I can help you out, Chief.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it being Z's dad, that's earning him, son-in-law points, if and when they got married. And of course, we see Lila, and she's all brokenhearted and she's devastated, and like she couldn't understand who would do this, but so who's going to tell her husband? That's a good question. So I think that's what's going to happen next. The chief and Jeff head on over to the husband's house. And like I said, he was my number one suspect because he creeped me the hell out. He did. He seemed very he seemed like pretty soft.
Yeah.
Really, cry at the drop of a hat. A little bit of, like I said, I don't think the casting chemistry was very good on this. I didn't really feel that they would have been, unless they've been married like for a year.
Yeah, it's. I mean, lots of times that happens. You know what I mean? And if it's not really like the main flux of the story, I can overlook it. Like I think I brought it up maybe in the last time we talked. I always go to like Terminator Genesis. It's a deep cut when we're talking Hallmark movies. You know what I mean? But when you have the, if you know the Terminator lore, Sarah Connor falls in love with Kyle Reese. They have they sleep together. She gets pregnant, and it's just a one night thing. They fall in love in one night, and then of course that brings forth John Connor. Well, with Genesis, it's just bad casting because those two, that actor and that actress, they had no chemistry at all. Like you couldn't buy that this woman, like granted they in this version of the film they got off on the wrong foot, but you could not buy that these two are going to fall in love and sire a child. These two hate each other. You know what I mean? And
Right.
That's the problem when you have casting where the two actors don't click and it has to be a love story. It has to be a relationship.
Yeah.
With here in this Hallmark movie, I kind of let it slide because we didn't really see too much of their relationship. So even though I thought the chemistry was off, I was okay with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I just feel like maybe part of it too was the way his character was designed. We gotta make some people unlikable in this movie, so we will rush to them and think that's the murderer because he's so unlikable, and that's me. I mean, as soon as I saw him, and he's weeping all these crocodile tears, and then after Jeff and the chief leave, all of a sudden he's there's not a tear in sight. Like
Yeah, he's
really? He's sort of sociopathic.
He got really close to the camera.
Yeah. He's like, that bitch got what she got. She got what she got.
All he really needed was like a mustache to twirl. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And a fancy car and a babe named Penelope Pitstop.
Yeah.
And a dog named Muttley. So Derek is they established Derek as being a potential enemy. And then we find out that the statue, the figurine that was used to kill Birdie, that went missing, also happens to be was made by a local sculptor who Birdie really liked, and got him inside the gallery. And he sounds like, and quite honestly, his sculptures did not look gallery quality.
No.
They really didn't. They look like that.
Craft show. This is art class. Pottery. Learning to do pottery 101.
Yeah, I mean,
or aluminum cast. I'm sorry.
I mean, in fact, they even commented on that when it was just sitting there. It's like that's it's like one of the here they are, thousands of dollars of beautiful art everywhere. And when they investigated the murder of Birdie, they noticed that none of the while that the boat was missing, but none of the other pictures were taken anyway. Nobody took anything. and then, tens of thousands of dollars that they left hanging on the wall. All they wanted was that local sculptor's boat, and it wasn't all that. And we see that when they go to see him, and and he, he's brokenhearted because Carl Kilbert, he's brokenhearted because Birdie got him his start.
Yeah, I like this guy. I like this actor a lot.
Too.
I thought he was really good.
I did too. I like the character too, and I never saw him as a suspect.
No,
His genuine, his grief was really genuine. There was also a little bit that you could have noticed it a little bit, like, gosh, like now that his angel is gone, will he still be able to put his art in that gallery? Will Lila will she continue to put his pieces in the gallery?
That's another reason why I never suspected him, because he wouldn't want to, or he didn't seem like the type of person that would take out the one that gave him his first shot. You know what I mean? The foot in the door. It's like, don't bite the hand that feeds. You know what I mean? There's no reason why. Now, if he was a success and she was trying to do something like blackmail him or say something like that, maybe. But he's still starting out, so I didn't see any reason for him to be one of the murderers.
Yeah, I erased him as far as that goes right off the bat. I mean, he had the size, he definitely had the strength to do it. I mean, working sculptor, I mean, he definitely could have did it.
Yeah, you gotta have the hand strength to strangle someone and stuff like that. Like the doctor.
The doctor would have never made the window if Carl had done it. He would have died right there. So we do meet Carl, and of course we see Carl is totally broken up about it. He's not happy, and his tears are real. And he comes back with another piece, similar to the boat, and they notice that, the other boat's still missing.
Yeah, it says it's a series,
right? And so he, of course they leave Carl, they leave Carl there, and then they go back to the harbor, and then Jeff's friend, Barista Bob, he always comes in with a little tidbit here and there, and like, oh yeah, I didn't even think about that, yeah, did you know that these two people happen to know each other? I mean, Birdie giving Carl his start and whatnot, or clues, or tidbits that maybe they didn't know. So of course they call the chief and tell them, catch them up on the what's going on with the going on, and now they're looking for the woman. They're looking for the mystery woman that came in there and tried to buy the boat that Jeff was there. So they're looking for her, and they finally find her at a hotel, and they bring her in for questioning. Like, what's your part in all this? And because you seem pretty damn hostile when Lila was not going to sell you the boat. And so she said that she's impulsive. Just like that. Yeah, no doubt about that. You definitely were impulsive for that. So her name is Suzanne Dillon, and so she is sitting there explaining to them, she just wanted the boat, and it's just coincidence that happened. She's not a suspect.
Then the doctor mentioned something.
Yeah, the doctor says, you're from Silicon Valley. Well, she says she's from Silicon Valley. She has, and Adam Sheeran, who we met earlier with Lila, well, he's in Silicon Valley too, and it's a very small world. Here they are on the East Coast in a very small town. It seems like quite a coincidence that they're both there together. And of course, Suzanne says, "Well, I know of him, but I don't know him personally." Right. Now, of course, that's a red flag right there for our intrepid detectives. I thought her character was good. I liked her character. You definitely could say that, she definitely had a motive.
She serves her purpose in the film.
Yes, and does a really nice job. I thought she was an interesting character, and she made a really good herring. Of course, now Jeff gets shot at. He gets shot. He gets
just
shot.
What he needs.
Right. he's going to go
he's
drop
Jeff
off.
Jackson. He gets away.
Yeah, because he's going to drop off. He's going to drop off the van, and then of course Derek sees the van that comes from his wife's gallery, and he's suspecting that his wife and Dawn were having an affair, and so when he sees Jeff Jackson driving the van, he goes ahead and takes a pot shot at him. Of course, Jeff being shot already and has a bullet in him, not too happy about that, and
disarms. Oh, girlfriend.
Well, one thing we didn't mention is he's suffering from some PTSD, because there is that scene in the very beginning, where we get to see what happened, but we're seeing it through a nightmare of his. So to me, that's what makes this scene more important. It's always on his mind. He's still got the bullet in him, so of course it's always on his mind. But now this is really going to possibly trigger something because of what happened before, and he's always dealing with that incident.
Now, this is one story arc in this movie here that does carry throughout the 4 movies. We do find out that Jeff had been shot and retired in the first movie.
Okay,
so this is a constant arc through the 4 films.
Now, were those the scene where he actually was shot and he lost his partner? Were those from actual scenes from the first movie, or were they filmed for this?
I think they were stock footage. I do believe that they used the same. They used the same scenes from the first 2.
Okay.
From the dream sequence. And he's been investigating. He's been investigating his own shooting for quite a while now. And as we find out, his own shooting plays a big part in solving this case. That's interesting. I love that. I love that part too. The reveal of how the crime was committed, and they solved it through an incident that happened to Jeff. I thought that was an interesting piece of writing. All right. So of course, Jeff's not happy about getting shot at. He said, "I thought you wouldn't be." No. I thought you were somebody else, so I took a shot at you. That makes it better.
Yeah, it's okay. It happens. Yeah, sure.
So they go ahead and they start. They go ahead and arrest Don and charge him for attempted murder because he took a pot shot at Jeff. But he basically shows them that he's out. He didn't do the murder, but he's not out. He's not scot-free because he did take a shot. So he's still going to be facing some tough road ahead. But at least he's not going to get charged with first-degree murder.
Right.
So we're going back to we're back to during the day, and they're still investigating it. And it's just tough right now. They just can't. They can't really. They got Don back. They get Don back. They're gonna go talk to him now. Why would anybody take a shot at you? Are you having an affair with Birdie? And of course, Don's going like, me? Hell no, I'm not having no affair with Birdie, but I do have an idea who you might talk to about that. And of course, that gets backed up by the newspaper reporter, and it looks like that it's not Don, it's Carl. Carl has been having a little bit of a fling, and with Birdie. And we see that the newspaper reporter, real estate agent, wears many hats. She says that when her and Birdie were out driving together, that Birdie saw Carl and she ducked behind. She ducked underneath the car and said, "Hey, get me out of here." And then we're starting to find the pieces are falling together. But I thought it was blackmail. I thought Birdie was blackmailing him.
I never got that vibe. I don't know why. I never got that.
I thought, because they were supposed to be, she was going to be opening up her own gallery. She was supposed to take Don and Carl with them. And then all of a sudden, the scene where she's in there, she's looking at the screen she's looking at the screen. She's like screwing, like, what is that? And then then she made her phone call at 9:24 to Lila. I thought when those two would end up, when they talked, that's what I thought. I thought that's what she thought. I thought, oh, now I don't, now I can blackmail Lila for the money I need to open up my own gallery.
Okay.
That's what I thought. and that's why she pulled out, because like she didn't need anybody else, because the more hands on the pot, the more
Right.
the more kitchens and more chefs in the kitchen. So I think she just wanted to do her own thing and try to get rid of the extra weight. So that's what I think. That's what I thought. And then the newspaper reporter, she basically tells them that, hey, it's not Dawn you should be talking to. It really should be Carl. And so, and she's an interesting character. Her name's Jackie, and I actually thought the chemistry between her and Jesse Metcalf and their scenes they had together was pretty good.
I really liked Jesse. I know the name from somewhere, but I really liked Jesse Metcalf in this. I thought he was really good with everybody that he had to act with. I thought he's one of those actors that can make a scene better no matter who he's with.
He really does. He really does. He is a not so much now, but there was a time where he did a lot of Hallmark movies.
Okay.
And he was one of their leading men. Jesse Metcalf, and then also Jesse Bradford. But Jesse Metcalf is one of the favorites, and the fans love him.
Okay.
But like I said, his career seemed to be getting a little bit more of a high profile.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's a really good actor. So now we go back to Lila's house, and Lila is there talking to Adam once again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like twice now that we see them talking together and start asking some questions, and what's going on, the usual detective questions. And all I gotta say, Lila had a beautiful house.
Mm-hmm.
Her house is gorgeous. I mean, that gallery must have been selling a lot of paintings, a lot of sculptures.
Except her driveway. Kidding. Her driveway seemed kind of small for such a big house.
Yeah, but she's probably, but she had a private dock back there. She had a boat, probably had a Ferrari inside the garage.
So I roll.
So Adam is he's sort of like he seems sort of, his attitude seems sort of bulletproofish, like I'm not really worried about anything about anybody. He leaves, and then they talk to Lila some more and get some more information, and then move forward. Anytime what time did you feel, did you start rounding up suspects? Did you start thinking from one killer to two killer? Did you immediately think there would be two killers, or did you think there would be one killer?
I always thought that there had to be more than one person involved, just because one person, again, not to make this sound bad, but a man is 9 times out of 10 physically stronger than a woman. And if we're going with a possible strangulation death, you're going to have to go for a male suspect. But I knew that woman was involved. Like I said, the first minute I saw her, she just gives off, lack of a better term, she has like one of the best like resting bitch face that a woman can have. No offense, Mary, when I say that, but she really does. But she also gives off that vibe, like she's one of those women that you just needs to be slapped, because there's something going on, and she's always got her hands in something, and it's not good.
Yes,
my son thought the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
He said,
if she wasn't involved somehow, like she may not have been a murderess, but if she wasn't involved somehow, I would have been really surprised by the end of this film.
I thought maybe she could have been a mastermind, like
right.
her running it,
and
two other, puppet master, and then there's two other people behind her, maybe the reporter, maybe maybe Carl, or maybe Derek or whatever. But
she's obviously got the money to hire people to do it, so that's what made me think if she wasn't actually physically involved, she was doing something.
They go back to Carl to investigate him, basically let him know that they know that him and Bertie were knocking boots, and why didn't he share that information with them? And of course he's like, well, it's none of your business. But unfortunately, in a murder
it is when they're the police.
Everything is.
Mm-hmm. When you're looking for suspects, I'm sorry, private lives are over. Well, we got to find out who the hell's murdering somebody.
Carl shows that he had talked to Bertie, and shows on the phone that here's proof that I wasn't anywhere near this place, or have anything to do with this. And so, yeah. Well, I thought it was really, then they come back, and I thought this was interesting too. And I'm thinking, wow, like the only part that's one of the few parts in this movie that sort of got me like, not really pushing that one, and that is when they find the murder weapon. They come out and they noticing that it's the murder weapon hasn't showed up, and Jeff says, well, they could throw it in the trash and come back for it later, and they just happen to find it. I didn't. That's the only part of this movie that just didn't. It
was a little too convenient.
Right. I mean, to me, it's like that they're that careful and everything, then they're not gonna leave that behind.
It made me think if they're going to actually clean up the murder site, they're not going to throw a murder weapon in the freaking trash. You know what I mean? They're going to throw it out to sea. They're going to throw it in the sewer.
You live near the vineyard. Martha's Vineyard. There's all that water.
They're going to take it with them. They're not going to throw it in the trash. They're wearing clothes. Put it in your clothes. Take it with you, and then get rid of it somehow.
I mean, yeah, I just didn't. I just, and the way it happened, we were walking down a little back alley, and oh yeah, there it is, sitting over here in the little bush. It's just like, yeah, that's just like,
Well, they tried to get away from the scene as quick as possible, I guess. So they didn't have time to crack it open yet.
Yeah, but they had enough time for someone to go there and pick it up. I mean, hell, Lila could have went out there and grabbed it, or anybody. Carl could have grabbed it. I mean, or Derek or Dawn or anybody else. They could have grabbed it that first night as soon as they got done. As soon as the police released the gallery, they could have gotten it because the police had already come in and already did their investigation. All they had to do is go back there 5 seconds later, put it back.
You think she would have came and took it and then put it on a boat and took it for a ride?
Right, and they had they had plenty of time doing it because no one was looking at her. No one was looking at her.
Right.
And
because he trashed the hard drives, and cameras and stuff, right?
Yeah, but I don't think they had discovered the sad part yet about Eli. So once again, they go back to Lila's house and she's there and she's working. I'm going like, how come she's not working at the gallery? I mean, her gallery manager's dead, so why isn't she there right now taking care of business? That was a little bit off-putting too. I was thinking, well, I mean, they don't have anybody coming in to take over the gallery unless she shut it down. But I just couldn't see her shutting it down. Maybe like for maybe a couple of days, but not because you got bills to pay.
Right.
So we see
got internet. You can sell them on the internet.
So of course, what really happens is, they continue to push and prod forward. They're exploring everybody's role into this, and they figure out through Jeff remembers. Of course, they find Dr. Eli, and Dr. Eli's death, and he's laying on the bottom of the stairs. I gotta admit, the flash when they showed his body, that was very. I thought that was very. Pretty strong for a Hallmark movie.
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah,
it adds to the seriousness of of the type of film. It gives it kind of a kick in the pants. You know what I mean? Because this is a Hallmark movie, but it's not your typical Hallmark movie.
Right. I wasn't surprised by that. I was glad they included it, but I wasn't surprised by that because I have seen other Hallmark movies, including a couple of the Jesse Stone movies that the Hallmark made. With Tom Selleck, that puts this one to shame in terms of that. But excellent movie. But of course, now they're find Dr. Eli. Of course, that breaks Z's heart. And we find out that the whole thing has been about the medical device. The whole mystery has been around that because we find out that they've been smuggling the medical device was supposed to go to France. Lila said it was supposed to be sent to France, and then instead it was sent to China. And and that's what's going on. Pieces were being smuggled in through Carl's art, which Carl had no idea about. So
Right.
Carl was free; he had no idea. So we start figuring out who had the motive for that. And again, you start thinking blackmail because you
Mhm.
think
How did
about
they get the device in the aluminum casted
how
part
how
without Carl knowing?
how did he get the piece inside?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Without him knowing, because you gotta know that it's in there.
Yeah, it's
I
true.
think I think Carl brought his piece in. I mean, in order for them to carry it,
Mhm.
it would have to be hollow, because otherwise, a piece that big, think about how much weight that would have been.
Right.
True.
So, I mean, I think they always knew that it was hollow.
So they just kind of like cut along that seam.
Right.
He was talking about how you can like not see the seam though, but
Well, I think Lila had probably been around art enough to know how to do that. I mean, she was an
Mhm.
art gallery. They know how to fix things like that. Like small smudges or here and there. I think that wouldn't be out of her range to do something like that, or at least know somebody else that could come in there and do that. I don't, that is one thing they didn't really answer too much. Um, but I know that the boat that was hollow. Um,
Mhm.
so they're smuggling pieces out. They're smuggling the dialysis machine out. Um, and so now they start going back to like who has the motive to do this? Who
Mhm.
has the motive? And of course we find out that Bertie, in fact, did find out about it, and it seemed like that's what she was killed for. But she
Mhm.
wasn't killed because she was blackmailing everybody. She was killed because she knew. She found
Right.
out.
Yep.
So she was a good person. She just happened to be in the wrong place at the
Place in the
wrong
wrong time.
people. Yeah. Right. Um, so now Jeff and Z are talking about like, okay, well, how could one person do this? They go over Jeff's shooting and
Mhm.
they figure out that, well, because he supposedly killed the serial killer that he was chasing, but he
Mhm.
still got shot in the back. Even though when he was shooting back at the killer,
mm-hmm.
he shot him in the front, but yeah, he was shot in the back. And so, they figured out that there's two people that were involved in Jeff's shooting, and
Mhm.
they figured out there's two people involved in the murders of Dr. Eli and Bertie. And so they go back and like, who had the
The
motive?
shell casing or something, a
Right,
bullet
right,
casing, right?
Yeah, someone picked up the shell casing and took it with them, right?
Yeah.
That's what it
right.
was.
Yeah. And he was like,
So
there
that's how.
had to have been somebody else.
And
Mhm.
then Jeff comes up with the other big clue, and that was the alarm. The
Mm.
alarm went off. Like
Which
how would
I
they,
missed.
Adam? Thank God, because I felt like I was the only one that lost. I did not. Um, but a good thing our good friend Jackson figured that one out
There
too.
to save the day.
He went ahead and said, Adam couldn't have did this because how did he know the code? And
Mhm.
so now they're thinking, well, Adam and is Adam's doing this thing, but how he had to have help because how do they know about the alarm?
Mhm.
They go back to Lila's, and they talk to her again. Then they go back and talk to Suzanne. Suzanne tells them basically that she's not in good shape.
Mhm.
She's. And so basically, what it does is pushes Jeff and Z back to Lila's house to the boat, and they surprise her by she's cleaning up the boat. And as soon as she saw that, that's when they went back there to do the boat, and you could definitely tell it was all her.
Mhm.
Uh, that was like, and you knew that his ass was dead. That I
Yeah.
did know. I knew that when I saw
Yeah.
how she came out of there. I'm like, yeah, I expected her to be in. I thought he'd be in the boat dead, but
Mhm.
I knew that Adam was dead. She was just cleaning up,
Mhm.
and so yeah, so they go ahead and she makes one little brief. Lila makes one little brief run for freedom. They talk her out of it, and she is arrested, and the double murders have been solved. Um, how can I say, man? This was a fun movie.
Yeah, like I said, I really enjoyed it for the most part. It's just and this is just me. It's a personal thing. When movies sometimes go non-linear, it's I always bring up Tarantino films. It's hard for me to get invested and be able to follow along. That notwithstanding, like I said, I really liked the two leads. I liked that it was a murder mystery because, like I said, you don't know who to trust. And even though I pegged that one woman right away, you still have to see how it plays out. And I thought this one was actually pretty good. And I do think it might have helped a little bit if I watched the first film instead of jumping into the second one right away. But again, that's just me nitpicking if I have to. But what I like about this, like I said about other murder mystery movies or even books, then after you're finished, you want to go back and rewatch to catch those clues, catch the alarm. You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I went back and rewatched this. I want to say real quick to hey Steven, Horror Freak 85 came in. Thank you so much, man.
Steven?
For coming in. Great job yesterday on the show with Hobbs Horror. We all did the channel thing, and Steven was part of it. Thank you so much.
Very cool.
Our good friend Eerie Frogs in the house. Frog famous. Hashtag Frog famous. Has his own island too, Frog Island. Hey, how you doing, Eerie? Hopefully you're feeling better, my friend, and happy birthday too.
Happy birthday.
I really, I like this series quite a bit. I mean, overall, I mean, this is the second out of the 4 movies that I've seen. I do have hope. I do have hope that Hallmark will come back and pick up the series as long as they have. They got to have the leads. I don't want them to. I don't want. I like Sarah Lynn and I like Jesse Metcalf together as the main couple. If they wanted to change things, and I want and I would like to have Nelson Wong as the. As
Do
their
they work together in all 4 films? Those two, the 2 leads.
The 2 leads are in throughout.
Okay.
Z and Jeff are a couple. I think this was actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think this was Nelson Wong's first appearance as Andy Lau. I think the dad was in all. The dad was at least 2 of the ones I know of. He was in the
He's
first.
always smiling.
Who, the dad?
Yeah, he's like,
Well,
your guy that worked with you in the art museum just died. And it's like, what is he doing? He's getting creepy, acting too. That's why I was like, did the dad do it?
Oh, I tell you one thing, man. The dad, man. The uniforms they had, the costuming for this movie, man. I think the whole budget must have went into the dad's cop uniform because that was a fine looking uniform. He looked like a starship admiral. He had the 5 stars on his around his neck and shit. And I'm like, damn. I mean, they gave Jackson a T-shirt. And
he's from Martha's Vineyard, so they have dollars for that outfit up there.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised they weren't driving around in a Rolls Royce for a cop car. Hey Casey. Hey Star Lord. How are you? Welcome to the wonderful world of Hallmark. So, what rating would you give this movie on a scale of 1 to 10?
I'm gonna edit that. I'm better at 1 to 5s. I'm gonna give this one a solid 4. 4 out of 5. I think the non-linear stuff, like I said, that hampers it for me on a personal level. But with a rewatch, I can maybe bump it up, maybe a quarter of a point, half a point type of thing. But as a first viewing, because I really like the leads, and I like the concept. It's just the timeline stuff. That's a personal thing for me. So I'm gonna give it a solid 4. I think I was always interested and I was still trying to figure it out, but it's just like some of that stuff just kind of messes with how I process things.
What about you, Mary?
Yeah, I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10 or 4 out of 5 or because I enjoyed the movie and from start to finish, but the jumps were a little annoying going back and forth, but they are investigating.
Yeah, and investigation can be very tedious. I mean, you look at the movie, you look at the series First 48. and you see how much leather those detectives, wear off of their shoes, just going all over the different places.
Right.
It's not
You
a
gotta
glam.
do it.
Gotta
hit it when it's fresh.
Yeah, it's not really a glamorous thing to do. It's just very, meticulous and very, time consuming, and so. And I really like that aspect too. The score of this movie was really nice. It was so restrained. It did not, they didn't do the cheap, loud music during an action scene or anything else. It was just really subtle music in the background just to move the story along. And I really appreciated that as well. Uh, sometimes a show will get really loud because there's the sight of a gun. It's like it's like
Or it's like Lethal Weapon. You know what I mean? How many times do we have to hear the fucking excuse my language, the saxophone play during an investigation or something like that? It takes you out. And that this movie did not have it, because this is it's a murder mystery, so there's gonna have those action scenes. You're gonna have the investigation, and it just I wasn't rolling my eyes with the music. You know what I mean?
In my head.
Have you guys ever? If you guys want something fun to do, you should guys look up like TV themes from the 80s and the 90s, and sit back there, like see how many of those intros have a fucking saxophone in it.
Yeah.
Jeez, right.
Yeah.
I'm just like, any series that has a saxophone in they're out. I'm just not. I don't care what it is. They're out. It's such a it's the cheesiest instrument in any and all TV. It's a damn saxophone. Oh, drives me nuts. See, Star Wars binge watching movies lately. Well, you can binge watch some Hallmark movies.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know the status of Valarie and Katie at this time. So until we know, I think we're just going to go on as our Mary 3 until they can join us. I know that I talked to Lady Valarie yesterday, and she is working hard to make sure that she can get her Sundays clear off. And hopefully with Katie, she was subbing for, I want to say this weekend was her birthday. Or either it was her birthday or weekend, or it was she's working for another manager at her store. I think that's what it is. I think she had to work. But we can go ahead and plan for the next movie. We can plan for the next movie, and we'll go, and then if they can come in, we'll tell them the movie. And next time we do this, there might be 5 of us here.
Okay.
And in that case, I'm going to go ahead and pass the next movie on to Mary, so Mary can go ahead and come up with an idea of what to watch.
Okay.
Now, not all of us have streaming service or whatnot, so if you type in a Hallmark movie on YouTube, Mary, and you see one that's been up for a couple of months, don't do what I did. That movie just got released last week. Let's watch that one because it's on Tubi. But you can go ahead and you can just let me know which movie it is, because I've caught you by surprise by this. So you can go ahead and just look and pick one out that you feel is that you're interested in, and then you can just let us know, and then I'll let Valarie and Katie know, and let Eric know, and we'll come back. I say we come back in July.
I'm looking at my calendar, either the 21st or 28th, but let's not pencil anything in yet until you talk to Val or Katie as well.
Right.
The end of the month, like, I'm not required, okay, so don't shuffle schedules just on my account. But I'm just saying, me personally, the closer to the end of the month is better for me.
Me too. My grandkids are coming down.
Yeah, better for me too. I like the idea we're doing. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this and the IFC show on the same day, though, because that's a lot of talking, and I don't really want to do that to myself, because I take me time to recover for the 8 questions. So 21st would be good.
When is the IFC one?
IFC next month will be the 28th.
28th, okay. Next month, the 28th.
I'll be bringing the noise that day.
Well, what's this one? So that's Where Evil Lurks.
Yes.
What's the date on that one?
That is next week.
Yeah. What's the? I watched it already.
The 30th.
30th. Okay.
That's
what
right.
So if you're doing that on the 28th, Patrick, do you want to air quotes pencil in the 21st for next month?
Sure.
Okay, and obviously get a hold of Val and Katie first, and like I said, you don't have to rearrange everything just for me. If another date works better for the majority, go for it.
Sure. Yeah, I'm hoping that Valarie can, because right now, they run a trucking company, a tow truck company, and you know how that goes. There's so many people out there that need the service, and she works. I think she pretty much works 7 days. So, but she's working really hard not to do that because she's gonna have some time for herself and whatnot.
Right.
So, and of course, Katie, that was a total, accident too. That she had a pimp hit for another manager. That's never planned. So
these things happen.
Right. I just wanted to keep the show moving forward so we don't lose momentum. And so that's the reason why. That's the reason why I wanted to keep going with this. And thanks for Mary. Though, like I said, it would have been very entertaining for just a couple of guys with heavy ties in the horror community. Oh, and we need to do that. We haven't done that yet. We need to go back and talk about our connections to a horror movie.
You got to give a score too. You haven't given a score, Patrick.
Oh, okay. I will. Let's talk a little bit about the pedigree in this movie.
Okay.
For sure, I could definitely do that. So, the killer, Lila Winchester, played by Camille Mitchell, and she has been in a lot of interesting films, including she played a sheriff on Smallville. Our two leads, Sarah Lind. Jesse Metcalf really hasn't. He's done a cult movie called John Tucker Must Die.
I know of it. Yeah.
Yep. So he's done that. As far as Sarah Lynn goes, she happened to play in a movie called The Exorcism of Molly Hartley.
Okay, now, I've heard of it.
She did. She was in that.
Yeah.
I thought she looked familiar.
Does anybody want to tell me why I love Mary Hartley so much?
I have no idea.
I talked about her so many times. Okay, so in fact we covered a movie with this actress in it.
Swallow.
That's and who was in that one, Mary?
She's in that one.
And Haley Bennett. Haley Bennett did The Exorcism of Molly Hartley. She looked sensational in that movie. So there's Sarah Lynn had did that. So there's the horror connection right there. The reason why we mention this is because a lot of people get the false idea that Hallmark movies don't bring the heavyweight. They don't bring the weight as far as their stories or their cast. They're all soft. They're not. They bring some really good actors to these movies, and a lot of them have horror pedigrees in them. Sarah Lynn also starred in the Humanity Bureau with Nicolas Cage.
I haven't watched that one yet.
Let's see, and let's see who the other main actor I would think that would be in this movie. I think it would probably be the dad. I don't know what he's done, if he's done anything. Let's see.
He should be the skipper if they're going to redo Gilligan's Island.
He has starred. He has starred in a couple of crime dramas. He played a detective in How She Caught a Killer. He also played in Superman and Lois, and did a science fiction movie called Rip in Time. That's really good. And so there's a little bit. It's not as heavy as we had before, the last couple ones, but there's some ties to some good horror movies and science fiction movies and whatnot. And as far as the score for this movie goes, I too will give this movie an 8. I like the cast. I like the villains. I thought they all did a nice job. And like I said, we don't know what next month's movie is going to be. We will know that as soon as possible, and then we will set that up on my channel.
Okay, you got it, dude.
All right. Real quick, Eric, what do you got going on your channel this week?
This week, I've slowly been going. Channels Hey Internet, Eric here, and the theme for the entire year is movies I've never seen. And as of right now, I'm going through the Wreck and Quarantine franchise. So so far it's been a blast. I've got the first
they're
3.
Good. Yeah.
I've got the first 3 films discussed on my channel.
Nice.
And as we leave here, Patrick is jumping onto my channel for a little short live stream, maybe 15, 20 minutes, because we we have an interesting theme for next month. It's going to be called Sharks and Schlock. And if you want to know exactly what that entails, jump over to our channel within the next 10 minutes or so. Patrick and I have challenged each other with 5 very interesting films.
I'm telling you, if your car was outside my house right now, you'd be driving home on bricks. Let me go ahead and punch in Eric's. Let me punch in his channel in here so you guys all can come over and hang out.
We'll be streaming within the next 10 minutes, Patrick and I.
All right.
And I drew Salem's Lot.
Oh, nice.
I'm going to drop the link to that.
You can see his face better. Ooh. He's pretty
Okay,
cool.
so here's the link right here. If you guys all want to over, like I said, about 10 minutes or so, zip on over there and check it out. All right.
But I'm gonna go eat my meatball sub.
What are you doing on your channel this week besides popping up for the ISC show?
Nothing much. Just gonna eat some delicious meatballs and.
Oh, did you make a video of? You did make a video of your latest 50 movies for 20 bucks.
Yeah, I got that was like really. The 50 mystery random box that
was
forever.
Right?
It took like a month to get here, and what do I get?
Nothing.
I was like, I know now.
I was crying.
DVD in.
I was crying when I saw you pull out some of the stuff they sent you. I was like, man, that guy must have been right in the he must have been at some flea market and somebody's going to somebody's dumpster or something.
Yeah, he was like, yeah. Nobody
Wow.
was like, really? That's what my son said. He sent that out. Like, why?
Yeah.
And the Secrets of the Universe DVD, you know. I did get a Pacific Rim DVD that I was watching, but it has scratches all over it. Hopefully I can play it on another DVD player or something because I like the movie so far.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I think I can find you a copy of that. Give me some time. I think I have an extra one for that. I still have your IFC movie. I gotta send that one out to you. This one. I still have it. And I'll give you a listing of what I have like doubles of and see what's great.
You need it or something.
All right, you guys all know what I'm doing this week, so if not, just go to my channel, check it out. I would definitely want to get out of here. We're gonna head over to Eric's house right now, so follow us over there. I dropped the link in the chat. Zip on over there about 10-15 minutes, and then we will tell you about Sharks and Schlock, which is going to be very, very entertaining. I promise you. All right, everybody. It'll be something. All right. Thanks everybody for coming out for Hallmark. We'll see you next month. Take care and peace.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye, guys.